All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you guys had a great week. Certainly, it's been a great week. Um, a little speechless, right? After the amazing sideways action we got for most part of the week, and S&P 500 index closes today above the 5100 mark, 5137 to be exact, for the first time in history. So here we go, another record-breaking day for the Nasdaq and also for the S&P 500 index. So really, really awesome. Can't say that we're not blessed here. So let's go ahead and move on before we get to the charts. Of course, let's see about next week's data. All right, so you're going to have quite a bit of data next week, and hope you're prepared for it. Number one, we're going to see S&P Global PMI data. Of course, there's going to be Fed speaking. And on Thursday, we got to watch out. Powell it will testify before the Senate Finance Committee. All right. And that's going to be Wednesday at 10 a.m. Powell. You're going to have ADP on Wednesday, JOLTS data on Wednesday. And on Thursday, he's going to speak again at the Senate at 10 a.m. Jobless data, Challenger data, and of course, NFP to wrap up next week. And so typically speaking, whenever we get into a week of, with jobs data, it could get a little messy. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the charts and see what we can expect. So if you remember from our last week's video, our downside target was 503. We hit 504.75 on the S&P 500 SPY ETF. All right. So that target was, let's just say it hit. All right. So pretty good. And from that point forward, it was pretty much a bull flag at this point. And then Wednesday's GDP data came out and wasn't too bad. In addition to that, we had great data come out from with PCE on Thursday. And of course, today's data with Michigan inflation expectations under 3.0%, 5-year expectations. And so the market rallied above our trend line, guys. That is huge. And our upside target was 512 this month or this week, and we hit 513.29. So congratulations, guys. Congratulations to the bulls, especially if you held on during the whole part of a week. And this downside move since last Friday was purely a fake out. And so we had to stay patient throughout this process. Whenever, as I've mentioned before, whenever a market makes new all-time highs, there's got to be some consolidation. There's got to be some areas where there's going to be obviously weaknesses. You're going to have to play double tops, triple tops, double bottoms, etc., until the market resolves itself. And so the low of the week was 504, near 504, but we saw pretty much after it broke out of this downward channel, it kept testing the 505 mark and never broke. And then the PCE data came out, and it was as expected, in line. And I think that market was starting to price in potentially a hotter than expected PCE data, and it didn't get that. So the market squeezed for a little bit on Thursday. We hit nearly 510 on Thursday afternoon before continuing higher. So here we are. Just a historical time. What a time to be alive in this market. So if we go back to this chart here, now a lot of people are saying, okay, well, this is a bearish rising wedge, etc. No, not necessarily. If it breaks out, then it's game on. The market can squeeze. All right. And once it broke out of the 510 area this morning, the market went to 513, added another 30 SPX points. So for next week, we have an upside target. Now, I'm going to show you guys real quick what the fib extensions look like. I'm not going to put this particular target for next week, but I think it's going to get there. And the market is not losing any steam at this point. We crossed the 618 extension at 512.10 this morning or today. All right. The next big target is going to be 523. And I'm not saying we're going to go there tomorrow. I'm not saying we're going to get there, especially with the NFP week and jobs data week. So number one, we have to be kind of a little bit realistic about, okay, we hit a new all-time high. There's going to be some downside. There's going to be some chop, especially when your moving averages are so wide apart. Right now, the 10 and 50 moving average, just to give you an example, All right. Your 10 EMA on the 30-minute chart is at 512, and your 50 EMA is at 509. Okay. So what that means is that there's going to be a lot of potentially a lot of shop on Monday to resolve that divergence of moving average in those EMAs. So you're going to have to see if we can actually consolidate and base for a period of days while we wait for all this important data, especially Powell on Wednesday and Thursday. So what you're looking at is a potential downside to retest this trend line at 510. Okay, 510 is where I'm going to mark my downside. All right, for this week. And the reason for that is because, well, I mean, we broke out at 510. We said that 503 was going to get tested this week because that was a prior support, right? So if this market is supposed to continue higher, then we got to retest 510 at some point next week. All right. And it could, I'm holding some calls over the weekend as a scalp, as a swing. If we get to 510, so be it. All right. Maybe it starts consolidating around the 510 area. And if it creates a base around the 510 area, I think we're going to go much higher into the week. So I'm going to put an upside target of 515, or kind of conservative at this point, right? Because number one, our 4-hour stochastic has been reset to the highs. All right. So whenever you get that situation, so hold on, let me make sure I got this right here. So 515 is, let's just say 515.12 is going to be the target. So you look at this 4-hour stochastic, and this is a big part of our win this week too, right? The downside, all it did was reset the stochastic on a 4-hour, and when we saw that on Wednesday evening, hey, I'm loading up for PCE. Maybe I'm wrong on the inflation data, but certainly the charts are telling me there's going to be a run. And look at where we are now, just 2 days later from Wednesday night when they reset that stochastic. And here we are. Now we're kind of slightly overbought. So it can actually stay overbought for a while, right? Remember this run here when they reset the stochastic on February 1st. We went on a run, right? The stochastic stayed overbought for a period of almost 2 weeks, guys, about 6 or 7 trading days, and the market continued to move up. Now the price is all the way up here on the 4-hour. You can see on Friday when we hit that 510 last Friday, we had to come back and retest these clouds. All right, so we need time for the price action or the moving averages to start catching up to the price, and that takes some consolidation. All right, so that's my upside target next week. 515, 510, 510 to 509 would be possibly a really good dip buy. But here we are. Market closed above 5,100 for the first time in history. Don't underestimate this rally, right? There's not enough bad news in the market for anything corrective yet. Even though everyone, a lot of market participants are wanting a correction, just not quite yet. The market is absolutely exuberant. Speaking of SPX, if we actually close above 5150 at some point next week, most likely it's going to go to 520 or SPY 520, 5200 SPX points. And I think at 5200 is going to start marking a local top and possibly some consolidation. Your AMD stock hit all-time record highs today. All right, you can see this is pretty much 2 white soldiers happening so far on AMD. All right, NVIDIA, our target today was 819. It hit, closed at 823, and actually going higher. Almost 825 now. So you can see that the semis are still getting some love, even just a few days of consolidation here. And then this was pretty much your bull flag, and boom, it popped out, right? So with that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend ahead. God bless you guys, and I'll see you on